Hi guys, it's Pop Gary. Um, I'm sorry I'm not on till 11. Gosh, I wanted to try to make this because this, for me, this this sets the cherry on top of how tough my mom is. And I want you guys to all please understand. I'm in this story deeply, but I have to add it so you understand the whole philosophy of this story. So don't feel sorry for Pop Gary at all. This isn't about that. I love my mom, and my wife loved her. My daughter loved her. We all loved her. She was a strong woman. Thank God. For me, at least, I was so glad I had a strong mom because this is the longest one of all. And I'm going to try to get over. I put some notes up here, and I'm going to try to get over as quick as I can. If I feel like I'm taking up too much time, I'll finish it off this afternoon because and this is imperative to give you the whole caveat of what my mother went through in her lifetime, and I'll end it with what the scenario of all the things that she did. Here we go. I'm going to give her a shot. Okay, we already gone through four. We're on fifth husband. Three, one fiance, four. Okay, now fifth husband. The fifth husband was named Ron. I don't mind using their names. It was Ron, and unfortunately for me, fortunately for me, but unfortunately, I'm the one that introduced my mother to look at that. I'm going to go off now. I just, oh, there it is. Okay. I didn't see the time. Unfortunately for me, I introduced her to my mother, not on purpose, by accident. I was in a tree fort with my two friends, and we were doing something typical kids do. We were shooting acorns at people from our tree fort at cars. And here comes the telephone company. Now, keep in mind, I didn't know. They stopped. Well, we had a rope ladder. We were up there locked in. You couldn't get to us, so We were shooting acorns at them. Well, I didn't go real big, but the bottom line is this: we were had built our tree fort, and just a little bit above us, we never touched it. We could have a 10,000 volt power line. So they made us get down, and he took me, and the other guys took the other kids, but Ron took me to my mom to tell him what I had done. And we're not real happy about us shooting acorns. So up marches Ron with me, not rude. He was very polite. He talked to my mom. The next thing I know, they're dating. So that's how she met the man. Well, it starts out that way. She marries him shortly after. She didn't stay with him very long. I mean, obviously, this was a man. She had four kids. Okay, my brother, me, my sister, and my little. Oh no, excuse me, three kids. She had three kids. She needed help. She couldn't do it by herself because she worked in that cannery. So in steps Ron. He marries her. I want to kind of go through it right. Well, he talks her into because it bothered her that he hadn't bought the house. So he convinces her, let's sell this house. We need to get a bigger house. So we went from a 3 bedroom, one bath to a 4 bedroom, one bath. I never did get that, but back in those days, they just didn't think that baths are important if you get 4 bedrooms, that many kids. So we went to that. My brother got a bedroom. My sister got a bedroom. I got a bedroom, and my mom and dad got a master bath. I mean, a master bedroom. And excuse me, it was two bathrooms because they had a master bath. Silly me, two baths. So there we were. We were happy. Everything was going pretty doggone good. And here comes my brother, Steve. He's born, unfortunately, with cystic fibrosis. Now, I'm just sharing with you as I go how I learned a lot of this stuff. Number one, I lived it because I was in the, oh my gosh, when we moved there, I was had moved there and became a freshman. Okay, they've had their child at the old house. We moved there because we needed the room. We did. We had my brother, my sister, me, and my little brother. Okay, we moved to the 4 bedroom house. So my brother and I, we shared a bedroom. My little brother got 1 bedroom, and my sister, of course, girls have always got to have their own bedroom. Bless you. Okay. Ah, my older brother hated his guts. I mean, it started out in Soquel, and he finally went in the Navy. He was done. They'd been married, and he was done. Totally done with it. Done with me. He couldn't stand him. He hated him. So, because he ran away, he got bound back, he got back, and my mom was already dating him and married him. So they had my brother. We moved to the new house. Hated his guts, which unfortunately for me, and this is sharing not to feel sorry, mom. That's how you got to get the picture of my mom. Well, my brother, remember, husband of her life, son of her life, and my sister, Gary's in the middle there. They were very important to keep her happy, not him. And Ron, who was not a authoritarian, he was a matter of fact dad. I fit right in immediately. Within a short period of time, I was calling him dad, and so was my sister. But my brother wouldn't have called that man dad if the HE double hockey sticks froze over. He wouldn't have called him dad. I did. I fit right in. So while we're there, he set up rules. My brother had split. He was gone. He'd taken off. He was done. He was over 18. No, I'm sorry, not 18. He ran away. I took off at 16. He never came around. He hated him. So I lived with my bedroom. I got it by myself most of the time. He'd slip in once in a while, but he'd leave because there was fights. And the CF started to cause a lot of problems. Well, I'm out there, and my stepdad, my dad's, for I'm concerned, I call him dad, no problem, fit right in. He had a set of tools. This man was a really good mechanic, and I worked hard. I Nobody bought me a car. I bought my own car, but the transmission went out. Very mechanically inclined. He said, "Come on, son, get in the car." We went in the car. We got an old transmission that's a dump. I had to take the transmission out. He was under the car with me and showed me how to do it. He said, "I'm not doing nothing. You're doing it." God, I hated grease at that time, but I did it. Well, we got one. We put it back in. Okay, now we went to his board where his tools. They were totally taped out, penciled in. You put every tool back, son, where it belongs, and you and I are going to get along great. I said, okay, that's fair. Well, guess what? I goofed up and I took a wrench and I think a screwdriver and I got grease on him because I was changing the oil in my car. He had taught me how, and I just laid him on the bench. Whoo, boom. And he, just as he slapped me in the face, not hard, it didn't hurt. At the bottom line, I deserved it. My mom saw that. Boom, she went ballistic. She got really mad at me because it's okay, mom. He had all the right in the world. He set up rules. I disobeyed a rule. Now that's when my stepdad Ron and we got to start getting along pretty good because I stuck up for him because if you can't take a slap from your adults, there's something wrong with you. Of course, today no kid can get slapped. Get back to Christ at times because it's not a thing to do. You'll go to jail. Well, back in those days, you could get slapped, no problem. So we got to that. Well, it then began to get downhill. Okay, they started going to bars every weekend, either Friday night or they would go Saturday night. There was bars down in the town, little dinky town that we lived in, and they went to that bar. He wasn't a good drinker. Now, this is Gary. Years later, I figured it out. He was not a good drinker. He got drunk. Very simple. And he could not handle his liquor and he would throw up. Okay, so I'm trying to paint this picture. I'm sorry it takes so long. We're trying to understand it. Then the fights began. I mean, knockdown brawls. I can't tell you how many times I got beat up trying to protect my mom because I was only 5 foot tall. I was a sophomore in high school. And I tried everything I could to protect my mom. And then I started not hate him. I just started to say, this isn't working because he blamed my mom. My mom blamed him for the CF. Well, years later, we all found out CF is caused by the same two genes in that particular human body. They both have the same CF, then it occurs. Reason I know that is because my wife and I, when we went to get married, my mom wanted us to check. Plus, we had no problems with CF. So the CF started. He was a sick little boy. I want to stay on track if I can. Fridays and nights. Then my brother began to get sick. I mean, he was sick. Now remember, we got to have a babysitter. They go out either Fridays or sometimes both Friday and Saturday. We got to have a babysitter. You're elected. Do I question it? No, because that's called authority has the right to tell you what to do. And so I babysitted. Now keep in mind, my brother, he wasn't there 99.9% time he was off. He'd stay at friends, buddies. He had a 55 Chevy. He didn't care about us. He was busy. And I used to sleep with my little brother because he had slept in an oxygen tent. And I learned a lot about how to take care of a CF patient. Percussions, I learned how to do it, all that stuff. And my sister, let's see, he was 2, so that made her, I think, 5. She was 5 or 6 in that area. And she kind of was self-sufficient. She had her own bedroom, happy camper. She was a lot like me. Plus, we had phones then. There were dial phones. We had phones, and she used to be on the phone with her girlfriends. I want to stay there, keep going the way I'm going. I'm moving along here. I don't want to bore you. I want to try to get the points out. Then the camping trips. We didn't have a lot of money, but we were okay. We were middle class. Not high end, but we were middle class. We were doing pretty good. I mean, shoot, I had a job. I always kept my job. I was either a bus boy, dishwasher, odd jobs, but a paper boy. I had jobs but I gave my money to my mom, even though he was making good money. She wasn't working. She had 4 kids to take care of. So here we go. They got pretty drunk and they started getting in real fights. And he basically slapped my mom really hard. And she started fighting him. And they were taking, I want to make sure I'm doing this right. Yep. So they got in a major fight. I mean, it was a major fight. It was in the morning. He was hungover. He was in a bad mood. They were never in good moods anymore. Every day, 7 days a week, bad moods. They got in a major fight. And he's grabbing her by the neck. He's not fisticuffing her. He slapped her, but they were fighting. Husband and wife fight. I never hit my wife my entire life, but they did. They were hitting each other. And he threw her on the ground, and I went to help her up. And all of a sudden, I look over, she looks over, and he's got a 30-06 rifle pointed right at us. I got up, stood in front of him tonight, because I'm a hero. I had no else to do. Click. He pulled the trigger. Then he got so angry, he smashed the rifle down on a bar, broke it in half, threw the gun at us. I blocked with my forearm and knocked it down, and he got running outside. Okay. You okay, Mom? Yeah. All of a sudden, 3 shots from a 12 gauge shotgun with slugs. He shot 3 holes through the garage door at us. Through the grace of God, only you guys, through the grace of God, they missed. Everyone missed us. Okay, well, it wasn't done. Remember, this was the final straw that broke everybody's back. All of a sudden, we hear a car rearing up, and our house at that time, the four-bed house, was straight down the street. Was adjacent. The street went this way, but down that way. We were at the end of that section. He hits through the garage, hits our washer and our dryer, and crashes through the wall. Well, I dove in my mom, covered my head, stuff's flying everywhere. And I get up, she's crying. I run out. I'm no hero. I'm only 5 foot. My stepdad was 6 foot tall. He was in the car, and I grabbed him by the throat. And it was hanging on. I was trying to choke him out, and he took off. My mom screaming. All I can remember, she was screaming, "Let go, let go." Well, she didn't realize that he had my hand where I was choking him on my hands, drug me down the street a while, shoved me, and I went roll. Okay, no big deal. I had some scrapes. I mean, I'm not sitting there telling you, "Oh, Gary was." No, I had some scrapes. I had a couple scrapes on my elbow and my forehead, but it's okay. I ran back to my mom and calmed her down. And this is the clincher. We went over. Okay, we got saved from a shotgun, 3 slugs going through the wall, car smashing our house in. This was the one that broke our back. I went over, I took the bolt chamber, I unchambered the shell. It was a shell in the gun. The firing pin had been struck by that rifle. To this day, everybody goes, "Why didn't it go off?" I look them straight in the face and say, "There's only one reason. God had plans for my mom and for Gary. There was some kind of plan because we did not die, because he had it aimed right at my chest, which would have hit her and me and killed us both. At least for me. I was a little guy. So the bottom line is, that was a fact. That was a true fact. The man did try to kill us 3 times. Long story short of that one, my mom gets a restraining order. I'm just telling you this is what I learned as I grew up. And my brother comes home. He sees me scratched up, not totally, but he saw what he did, saw the slug hole through the thing, saw the rifle. And my mom said he literally pulled the trigger, and for some reason we didn't die. Well, my brother was 6'2", a big, big, big man. He went after Ron. Next thing I know, it's the last time I ever saw my stepdad number 5, or dad number 5. He beat him so bad, he broke his jaw in 3 places. His face was all swollen up like the size of a watermelon. Here comes George. The cops are walking with him, but not handcuffed, and they have Ron handcuffed behind his back. "Is this your son?" My mom said, "Yes, it is." "Well, he beat the hell out of this man right here." "Well, that was my husband." That's how she said it. "It was my husband." She showed him the damage, holes with the shotgun firing through the car, the gun. Didn't show him the shell. Don't know why. Don't care. Doesn't matter. Technically, it was attempted murder, but do you want him to go to jail? I want him out of here. I want to restrain order. I never want to see that man again. And guess what? I never saw him again. I never saw that man again my whole life. I'd heard that he had died, but I never saw him again. So here we go. We got that out of the way, don't we? Well, didn't stop there. Oh my goodness. My mom she was just such a tough lady. She went through it all. So I helped my mom with the kids. I had my little sister, my little baby brother who had CF was sick so much. Like I told you, she taught me how to do all of it. I did the percussions for her because she had to go back to work. Guess who has to take care of the kids? Wah, and not wah wah. I had to take care of the kids, and I did to the best of my ability. And I took care of those kids, and my mom worked like a dog. Then I helped her right up until I went in the military. 1965, I got drafted. Well, guess what? I can't help my mom now. I look back in my life and thought many times after, why didn't I get her some of my pay? You guys have been in the military, trust me. I didn't get paid much. I think it was started out at $88 a month. It wasn't much. That's a month. But don't forget, that's not a sad story because back then the dollar was a real dollar. And guess what? They fed you. I never missed a meal. I don't know why a lot of guys didn't like army food. Go Pop Gary, you line it up. I'm a seafood eater. I see it, I'll eat it. I mean, I don't care. My mom struggled. Okay. Now remember, she got a 4-bedroom house, sold her house that her and Archie bought. Well, she never told me. I wrote her letters from overseas all the time. She wrote me back. Never, never, never did that stinker ever mention she had to sell the house. She lost the house. She didn't even sell it. She lost it. They took it away. To this day, it sickens me. I feel ashamed of myself as a son. Because remember, we had Umbre 1, Georgie. Well, he was Herman's son. He can do no wrong. We had my sister. She was really just a little girl. She was young. How was she going to do? And my sickly brother. So it was sad in my heart when I got out. That's why I told you guys that she saw me. I was tall. I had to call her because she didn't know where she lived because I didn't know. She said, just call me when you get home. Don't come to the house. Well, now I know why she said that. She came, picked me up, and we drove to an apartment complex. She lived on the top floor. Pretty discouraging because I didn't know, and it bothered me. But here's the sad part. My mom's gone through living hell, and Gary comes home in the military. A potty mouth military talk. Don't get me wrong, there's guys in the military who are Christ centered. I wasn't one of them. Came home, had my sea bag, didn't unpack it. I was going to unpack it when I saw how things go. She only had a 2-bedroom apartment, and my sister lived in one, and my brother shared a room with her. They had one little bathroom, so I had really no place to sleep, so I slept on the couch. Well, the second day, I had mustard out pay in my wallet. Don't know how much it was. Didn't say how much it was, but I don't want to lose my train of thought. I got a piece of bologna. I can never forget this as long as I live because it hurts me to think of some of the things I did when I got out of it. I had a piece of bologna. I fried it up with 1 egg. She goes, she came up to me and I took it wrong. And trust me, I took it wrong. It wasn't her. I'm struggling financially. There wasn't food stamps in those days. You could go down to a food bank and pick up food. I'm struggling financially. And you're going to have to, if you're going to stay here, you're going to have to help me financially. Well, you know how her wonderful number 2 son was. I threw $1 on the table, threw a tip down a quarter, and I said, you know what? There you go. $1 buys you 2, 3 dozen eggs. The quarter tip took care of the bologna. I'm out of here. Grabbed my seat bag and packed up and left. I was ashamed of myself, you guys. I was ashamed. But now then I wasn't. I didn't know who Jesus was. I was a moron is what I was. And I packed up. Now, did I help my little brother Stephen? I love that little kid. I love my mom, don't get me wrong. And I love my sister. So it wasn't long. I think I was only on the military 8 months and I married my wonderful wife, which saved my life because I would have probably drank myself to a death because I drank and I said, I'll never drink another drop as long as I live. I will not be like them. Went in the military. Wrong. I did everything they do. I smoked. I went in the military, drank, smoked, drank, smoked. That was fun. What a waste of time. I was ashamed of myself years later when I accepted Christ and realized so many things I could have done. Bottom line is, it didn't help my mom at that time. Now she'd been kicked in the face, knocked to the ground, lost her home. Remember, nesting is important to women. Lost her home, lost everything. So we go along. Let me look at what I'm doing here. I'm getting off track again. I'm sorry I'm taking so long, but I'm trying to do it as thorough as I can. Okay, so Karen and I got married, my wife and I, my wonderful, beautiful wife. We got married. Okay, we had a wonderful wedding. Her dad didn't necessarily like me, but we got along and we got married. Nice wedding. Not a sit-down dinner, but a really nice wedding. We went to the reception and all that stuff. Well, guess what? My wife just fell in love with my little brother. Remember, we're 13 years older than him. So he was a little kid. My wife is a Mickey Mouse fanatic. We used to go to Disneyland because it was in LA. First, we used to drive. And then as we made money on this Mr. Got Rocks, we flew. We used to stay at a hotel and walk a block or two to Disneyland. And then we started flying and we were staying at the Disneyland Hotel. Well, guess what? My little brother was kind of like Karen's and my son. We spoiled that kid rotten. He went everywhere we went. We went camping, he went. We went Disneyland, he went. It's just, he inherited a son. I've even got a letter that I lost and I went, of him talking about how, as a brother, you were the closest thing to a dad I ever had. But it hurt my mom. Christmas time, we would go over to their house and they would have presents. Santa and Mrs. Claus, when we got done bringing all the gifts in, the tree would be so full, we spoiled them all. We spoiled my mom, we spoiled my sister, we spoiled my brother, because that was how my wife was raised. I told you when I was a kid, one present was a big deal, a big deal. But, and that day, those times we were Christmas, my brother, he didn't get more than me. We got one present. But I guess that's because it's fresh in your parents. That was pretty good. I never realized until years later how good it really was. And I wish I'd have continued on with the way I was taught. But money has a way of taking over your life. And that's why I always tell my family, don't let this become your God. Because it's in the Bible. You put him first, and then your family second, and your friends seeking kingdom of God and try to talk to everybody you can about Jesus. Then somewhere along the line, you slip that in between the cracks. After God, God's always first. Then you start slipping under these cracks all the way down the stack of gold you got. Didn't always do that, but I do it now, and I started when I accepted Christ, and I wish I'd have continued going all the way and teaching my daughter this. I failed. I tell you, I'm a failure and a father in times. I really did fail at that, and I'm ashamed. But I've learned, and as you go, you learn more. That's why I'm saying, like you, Elizabeth and Gail, it's important for young kids to understand there's wealth in these old people. There's wealth in my bones. There's wealth up here. I got a computer of knowledge of what to do and not do. Why? Not because I went to college and got a ton of degrees. It's because through the grace of God, I learned and I kept it. And I was a seeker of elderly people. My wife used to go nuts. Why is it whenever we go to Vegas, Tahoe, we used to gamble. All the old ladies like to come to you and talk. That's why I'm gambling. You're talking. I don't know. I just love old people. They got knowledge, more knowledge than me. But that's the way it was. But my mom, sorry, get off track. Oh my goodness. Gary, quit rambling. Oh, second young or youngest. Okay, so we go along in life. We're doing a good job. My mom would call me. Okay, Karen and I were married. We had a beautiful home. We lived in an apartment for 2 years. First year we lived in an apartment, our duplex. Second year we lived in an apartment. Guess what? Right next door to my mom's. We lived in the bottom floor. She lived in the top floor next door, and we lived there for a year. Well, we worked hard. My wife, we're going to buy a house, so we bought a house, and we actually offered my mom to bring the kids over there. You gotta understand, my mom. No, we're good. We are good. So she did. So we go along there. Unfortunately, my brother, her number one son, who is perfect, had lots of trouble, became a heroin addict, serious heroin addict. If he wasn't taking heroin, he'd quit and he'd brag to mom saying, "Look at that, mom, I'm not taking heroin anymore." No problem. He'd drink 2 fifths of alcohol. When he wasn't drinking 2 fifths of alcohol, he would smoke a pound of dope. And he just got in trouble constantly. He finally got thrown in prison, Lompoc prison, for doing dope runs with another guy. He didn't rat on him, but the other guy said, typical how police work. Well, if you tell everything about him, we're going to let you go free. We want everything he's got. Well, technically, my brother George could have gone after the guy he wouldn't rat on, could have put him in prison for a long time because he was a kingpin, but he protected him. The code of a man. Went in the military, he learned the code. You protect your fellow friends. Went to prison 2 years. Here's a clincher. He goes to prison, not as George Bush. He goes to prison as me. That was a crazy thing. My mom, again, more stress on her because I went to her and said, I don't know what we need to do. I need your help. It took my mom, Karen, my wife, and I years to finally get our name cleared. They had put a lien on our house for $100,000. We only bought it for 20. They had done everything they could. They finally took my driver's license away. I had to go to court. Again, I'm just showing you, I got to throw God into this whole scenario picture. My mom, my wife, and I went to court, and pretty well we figured we were hung. This DA wanted a piece of me. But I signed this thing. They wanted me to sign. And I didn't know what they were doing. This is how the Lord works. I signed my name. To sign it again. Okay, I signed my name. I signed that piece of paper 10 times. Then they say, go sit down. And they discussed. So then the judge says, come up here. Yes, Your Honor. The DA had stuck up for me because he realized I put an apostrophe in my OD and I signed it with an M, my middle initial. So he did. What he had was a fishing license that he used as to get arrested. He had a fishing license. Mine was probably 10 years old. Back in those days, I didn't sign it with an M. I signed it with an OD, but there was some stories that don't need to be talked about. I changed my name where I started to sign it with my middle initial. It saved my bacon because they realized it. So the judge stamped, you can go home now. We'll work on getting all your records cleared, which didn't happen quickly, but we are free. We got all our records free. I used to go to my brother with my mom and my wife and visit me, who was me. That's how crazy it got. But he kept doing it. My mom would call us up in all kinds of strange times of the night. 2 in the morning, 4 in the morning. Well, he's done it again. He's not going to make it this time. And we get up, get dressed, go to the hospital. My wife was such a sweetheart. My mom was just, I could see the wrinkles in her face. She was old before her time. Every time it happened, it just stressed her out more. She went, she did it, he'd make it. We prayed, we prayed, we prayed. Then we were Christians, my wife and I. We'd always take my Bible with us. We prayed, Jesus save him, and he'd save him. That's all of God. That's all of God thing. So then, all of a sudden, she calls me up. Your brother's been in a terrible, terrible automobile accident, and I don't think he's going to make it. Here's my mama. She's already lost so many people. Her son was laying in a hallway with the entire top of his skull ripped off his face and exposed. She unfortunately had to see that. Her own son. It must be. See, I'm not a mother. It's bad enough to be a dad, but to be, or a brother, but to be the mama who carried that kid for a 9-month period, and plus it was the love of her life to see that. It killed her. She bawled, she sobbed, we held her. Well, through the grace of God, again, we prayed. And through the grace of God, he was good. Took a year and a half to recover, but he was good. In fact, still was very handsome. The guy that worked on him was an amazing surgeon. Had to sew back his face. Broke his leg in 3 places. Thought they'd be crippled, thought he'd never walk again. See, they don't know our God. He walked again. So there it was. She's another stressful thing. So we go on with this for quite a while, on and off. Some college kids, when my brother was in college, came to our door with guns. Came to our door with baseball bats. They wanted to beat him up. Mr. 5 foot tall sophomore, we were in high school. I had a 410 shotgun. I pointed at him. Now, back in those days, you could get away with it. Today, they would come arrested. Me, the innocent person. So, again, more stress. Just constantly pounded with stress. Her whole adult life. Never got that one break to relax. So we go on. I want to make sure I'm babbling again. She goes along and she wants to put me. Apparently, she just, for whatever reason, even though there was George, son of her life, Herman's son, my sister, and my little brother who was sick, she wanted to make me the executive of her estate. Now, she didn't have a lot of money. My wife and I, had bought her car. That was the pride of her life. She was so excited about that car because her nephew, who was a multimillionaire, promised to buy her car, never did. And I could see the hurt. So I asked my wife, because we run everything by. Asked my wife, she says, yes, let's do it. We bought her a car. And then another time, again, just things to give you an idea of what happened to her. My sister, at 18, decided to jump on a plane and fly to Europe. Well, she was there instead of for 2 weeks, stayed there for a year and a half. Stressed her out. Now she's got her own little girl now, and her son of her life, he's left, disappeared. The little girl, because he went to Florida, her little girl, she was gone to Europe. Stayed there a year and a half. Well, she calls my mama up and says, I need to go home. I'm tired. I need to go home. I need $1,200. Who did she go to? I say, my wife and I say, let me talk to my wife, because I, as a married man, it's our money, not mine, not hers, our money. We discussed it, we prayed about it, and we said, sure, we'll give you $1,200. Send it to her. You got to know my sister. I call her the gypsy. She, of sound mind, said, cool, and she stayed there another year. That's my sister. You just got to know her. Stayed there another year and had a ball. B-A-L-L, ball. I told my mom, as I'm serious, Mom, If she needs to get home, she better figure out how she's going to get home, because I'm not going to give her a dime. That's not fair to my wife. I will not give her a dime. Well, my sister, being the gypsy she is, she was smart enough to know, and so she had enough to fly home. Here's the funny thing from my mom. I told her, it's amazing. I found out to fly home one way was, I think, $275. This is a little plot. My sister planned a plot on her. She loved my mom. Don't get me wrong. She loved her with all her heart. But the stinker, stress. Her little girl's gone. Love of her life, her son, gone. Now my little brother has been in and out, and in and out, and in and out of the hospital. The doctors told her he won't make 2. Wrong. He won't make 5. Guaranteed by 5 he'll be dead. Wrong. Okay, we know for a fact he won't make teenage years. Wrong. As well, they finally said to her, well, just figure that by 21 he'll be dead. Wrong. He's still alive, and that little kid's 66 years old. So that's what really, in that light period of time, my mom realized there's got to be some higher plateau. There is, Mom. Jesus Christ. He'll tell you when you're going to die. No doctor will tell you you're going to die. If you believe, you will be saved. Now, there are people, you guys, that when I tell this story to other people, they say, yeah, but my husband died, or my brother died, or my sister died, or my son died. But I said, listen, visualize this. When you're born in the womb, your life is plotted and planned. Our God knows everything. How is it done? I don't know. I just know that I know my Lord God, Jesus Christ. They know when Gary's coming home. I believe with all my heart, Gail and Elizabeth. I know in my heart, I don't believe I'm going to see death the way we're talking about. I don't know what happens when that twinkle in my eye I'm gone. Do I feel death? I don't think so, but I don't know how it works. I do not. I just know I'm going to get my heavenly body, and I'm going to be with Jesus Christ. And my mom, I used to pound on her, but it was tough. Remember, I'd like to say her heart got calloused with the grief that poor woman went through. So we're going along. I'm sorry I'm taking so long. I want to try to finish the story. We're going along, and she goes through the rest of her life. We never saw Ron again. We never saw that man again. She didn't want money from him. She just never wanted to see him. She didn't take any child support. She did all of my little brothers on her own. Praise God. What a tough gal. I mean, she just never wanted to see him again. And I now realize, see, as I got older, the man tried to kill her and I. Shot a gun at us that didn't fire. Tried to shoot a shotgun through the doors. Tried to run a car through the wall. No wonder she hated him. She hated him. Unfortunately, I've had people say, did you hate him? I don't hate anybody. I prayed for his soul that he'll go to heaven. Everybody, including murders or attempted murders, still need to see Jesus and ask for forgiveness. Did he? Don't know. I told you, I never saw him again. Just found out probably 5 or 6 years ago that he had died early in life. Don't know why. Doesn't matter. Here's my mom. She's going pretty good. Now, she calls me one day and she says, I'm in trouble. I called your sister, her little girl, first. That was her first choice. She knew George. He was a heroin addict. She didn't pick him, the son of her life. She picked my sister first. And she lived in Hawaii. And she thought, well, I'll just move to Hawaii. And my sister said no. She had their own problems. She had 2 kids. She had a husband. And she basically said, no. Second choice, not me, my little brother. So she said, okay. She comes to Karen and I and says, would you help me? I'm moving up to your brother's. She didn't ask me to help or anything else. She bought a trailer without even talking to us. She got a trailer. She got my stepbrother, that's a whole nother story, to drive it up in a truck. We drove in our trucks, two cars that we used, to take up all the rest of her stuff, and we went to Oregon. I stayed there a week. Remember, I'm self employed. I stayed a week. We got there. We built a deck. We did everything we could to say, "Are you set up a big deck? Are you comfortable?" She was in love. She goes, "I love this place." Okay. We drove home after a week. I myself thought, well, I'll probably not see my mom because I didn't really like the desert of Oregon. But I said, I love you and I'll keep in touch with you. What you did on the phone? Well, I don't know when it was, maybe a year. We got a call from her. Hey, Mom, how are you doing? Come and get me. Your brother put me in a rest home. What? Well, long story short, I called my brother. Apparently, she was becoming quite obstinate. And remember, he had a sickness. He adopted one kid and had the other one surrogate. He had two kids himself to take care of. And he was in and out of the hospital still. I mean, in his 40s and 50s, still going in and out of hospitals. I said, okay, what do you want me to do? Get me out of here. So I talked to my brother. He said he was sorry. He couldn't do it. He says, you know, bro, I got a lot of problems myself. I said, I'll get on an airplane. I'll pick her up. Got a one-way ticket there and another one-way ticket back. Flew there. Went into the rest home. She looked like she was dead. She had the blanket up to her chest. And I said, geez, she doesn't look very well. I says, Mom, she opens her eyes, throws the blankets off. She's got her tennis shoes on, her pants on. She's fully dressed. Goes over and grabs her bags. Says, let's get out of here. Okay. So we flew home. She lived with us for 11, a little over 11 years. Now, unfortunately, in the 11 years she lived with us, first, I remember the deaths. First, she lost all those people. She lost a set of twins. She lost the love of her life. She lost my dad, which one way or the other. And she lost her fiance. Okay. And she got divorces. Terrible, terrible thing. Terrible. But then she loses her son of her life's wife. She died of a heroin overdose. And it really saddens my heart, you guys, because my brother went to a methadone program, and because I was done. I was done. I would not give it another dime. We used to call my brother the $20 kid. He $20 Karen and I. It's in the, you can't even understand. It's in the thousands and thousands of dollars. Also, he borrowed my car, totaled it. He borrowed my wife's motorhome. We had a self-contained camper, the campsite. It was really nice. We used it so that she didn't have to sleep on the ground. And he tore the top off, destroyed our camper shell. I lent him a bicycle, and I thought, I'm safe. A bicycle can't. I had a nice $250 bicycle, Swin. He totaled it. He totaled the bicycle. I sold him a truck for $500. Could have sold for a lot more. But I said, you know what? I'll give you this truck for $500. He said, I don't have any money right now. It's all right. You can pay me when you get it. Well, guess what? He totaled that. This is just my brother. God, I loved him though. But the methadone brand, he finally came to me one day and I really hurt his feelings and I just didn't care. You can never come to our house again. We took him up for his last trip to a place called Kenny Meadows. He stayed at our cabin and he stayed drunk the whole 7 days we were there. Kind of ruined our vacation because when he was drunk, he drove us nuts. With his wife, he got that master program and they got done. And I said, good, you know what? I'll have you over. We'll have a big barbecue. Less than a week, My mom calls me up. You need to get to the hospital. I grabbed my Bible, grabbed my wife, my trusty best friend. We went to the hospital. Basically, she was dead. She had overdosed what they call black tar heroin. Don't I know I'm not professional on heroin. I just was told she was dead, and everything was keeping her alive was some machines. They had told my brother this. They had told my mother this, but neither one of them could sign the papers to pull the cords. So guess who they asked? My wife and I. So we did. We signed the papers. We had to stand there. I did pray for my sister-in-law. I pray. I loved that girl. She was a good cook. We prayed for her. I laid hands on her. I prayed for her, and I said, "We're ready," because we asked for a little time with her. They turned and unplugged, and everything that this wonderful, wonderful nurse told us. She was such a beautiful gal. Everything she said happened. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Everything they said happened. She passed away. But she wasn't. Like the nurse looked at me in the face, and Karen, my wife and I, she was already dead. She wasn't there anymore. She had taken so much heroin, it was pure. It killed her brain. She didn't know what was up. Now, is that true? I don't know. I've never been that way. What's dead? I don't know. I hope she didn't go to hell. They stole my Bible, my brother and her. I used to have a marked. Every Bible I've ever had marked up, and apparently they had a great time looking at it. They actually said to me one day, "You believe in all that stuff?" With all my heart. And he said, "You're serious, aren't you?" I said, "Yeah." I don't know. I just like to think this is the Pop Gary thing. I like to think, you know what? I'm sure she's in heaven, and so is my brother. Okay, that's over. My mom was there by herself. My brother just took off. Well, unfortunately, Karen and I knew. So we sat with my mom for a little while in the hospital. We said, "Mom, I think George is done. I don't think he's going to make it." And 2 weeks, 2 weeks to the day, they found him dead in a motel, overdosed with the same darn heroin. They've been trying to catch this group for quite a while. It was Mexican mafia. Nothing to do with Mexicans. It was Mexican mafia. And they were selling it all over Santa Cruz. Well, here's another clincher for my mom. Now she has lost the husband of her life. I mean, the husband, but now she's lost the son of her life. She, I don't know. I was afraid she was going to kill herself. She was done. It wiped out everything. As tough as she was, that truly broke her beyond comprehension. And they made us stand there because she wanted to see her son. These police wouldn't let her see her son. Finally, this one policeman said, we're going to bring the body out. And I got so angry. I'm not going to get into that. Her last sight of her son was her love of her life son coming out in a body bag. That was a terrible thing. Terrible thing. So he come out in a body bag. That was pretty well the cat's meow. She was done. Wiped out. She went home. We kept going on in life until she was 84. And at 84 years old, that tough old gal, she was tougher than nails. We got back from a 3-day vacation, and she was throwing up blood terribly. She says, "I don't feel well. There's a lot of blood." I'm almost done. I'm trying to finish up. She died. I mean, she was upset. Here's the clincher. When she died, she would lay there and she looked at my sister. Never in the 2 or 3 hours that she was looking at us because she was on hospice, they were giving her heroin. She would never look at me. She never forgave me because she thought I put on machines. It was just oxygen in the nose. And she passed away. Never looking at me. It hurt me. It hurt me deeply. But you know what? I still thank her for everything she ever did for me. I'm sorry I took so long on that story, but there's a story of the toughest bird I'll ever know in my life. Tougher than nails. So you guys got mamas out there, dads out there. I never had a dad. Never forget, they are your life. If you got a good one, you better hang on to them. Okay? I love you guys. I'm gonna let you go, and I'm so sorry I stayed on so long, but I gotta go. But remember this: this is the day that the Lord hath made. That's my daughter, and we will rejoice and be glad in Him. I'll see you this afternoon. I love you guys.